And now, here's your host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success. I am your host, Wes Tankersley. Hey, I just wanted to hop on here and do a little bit of a live. I hope that you can hear me correctly because I have been having some serious issues with this new Rodecaster Pro 2 that I have. I don't know if it was a cable. I don't know if it was Ecamm. I'm not sure. This program I use is called Ecamm, and it pushes this out live. Right now we're live, and we are on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and I think Twitter. They can go for places for live. Anyway, I've been having some issues with it. Luckily, my friend Jay is able to fix it somewhat, but I've basically wasted one whole podcast interview as well as another one. So we're solo today. I had a guest rescheduled at the last minute, which does happen sometimes. If you're listening, please just, tell me that the sound is okay, because if it's echoey or if it's what's the sound that we're hearing, like a buzzing sound, it's not right. So Nikki's in the house. So hey, here's what we're going to do. Before I talk a little bit, we're going to start. If you have any questions throughout the podcast, go ahead and drop them in the chat box. I can't comment on there, so I can't chat in there. But if you could do that, Nikki, if you don't mind, can you just do that? Any questions, drop them in the chat box there for me. And then I will answer those at the end. This is going to be a little bit different episode. My guest canceled this morning. I need to get an episode out because I need to have one every single week. This will come out on Monday, December 5th. And I say that because it will be 2 days after my 42nd birthday. Not that I need anything from you guys. I just want you to understand that that's where it's at, 42. And then that'll be pretty close to my 200th episode. A lot of cool things going on. I want to take time real quick to thank my team. I have created a team of people who are helping me to push this out. We have reached over 1,107 followers on YouTube, subscribers on YouTube. So if you're watching, please subscribe, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Help me out. Help me get it out there. Watch the videos, share the videos. Let's get them out there. Wanted to thank Nikki is in the chat room. She is writing the show notes for me. And my friend Wolf K is also helping with the SEO stuff and making the clips and videos and things like that you see on YouTube. I'm not live on TikTok right now, Nikki, but I could be. So anyway, this is one of those things where I just want you guys to know that I'm super thankful for my team. We're putting this together so that we can actually get this out here and help you find it more. We're trying to push really hard on YouTube because that's where it's at right now. I've always done video. I've always done audio. And I feel like the video is where I want to push more towards. So I wanted to talk to you about this thing while we're talking about that, right? About going out, pushing forward, doing more, being better than what you were before. There's this thing called a Hedonic Treadmill. And one of my coworkers, Jeff Davis, had told me about this. So you should go check this out. It's called a Hedonic Treadmill. And basically it starts out with kind of the way that you process things and you do things. And not everyone does things this way, but this is how I feel. And when he showed me this, I was like, holy shit, this is exactly how I feel. These are the things that I think about on a daily basis. So it's basically 6 things that you do when you set a goal, right? So the desire. So now you have the desire to do something. I have the desire to be a podcaster, right? I have the desire to help other people. So part of that, the big picture, is helping other people realize that success is generated by you. And that is something that you create, right? That's something that you build. You are the person responsible for that. So you need the desire first, right? So my desire started out with to reach more people, right? To help more people, to teach people, right? So that's the desire. So then you start to strive. That's the second step, right? We're striving to do that. So we're doing all the things in between the steps that it takes to get there, right? So if I was going to measure it, and that's how we always do things, right? We have to put a numerical value behind it to measure how successful we are, right? So you put out a podcast episode and you get 100 downloads, right? So that's kind of how I measure those, or used to measure them, is downloads, views. It's kind of hard to kind of put that in a big picture now because it goes so many different places and there's so many different people watching it. But I'm striving for that. So I hit 100 downloads. I want to strive to get 200, right? So I've obtained the 100 downloads. That's the next part, right? So I've strived. I have the desire to make the podcast. I've strived to get the 100 downloads. I've obtained the 100 downloads. What's next? I'm going to enjoy what I did, right? I'm happy for myself. I hit that goal. I reached it. Okay. Then I'm going to adapt. So I'm going to start changing things and start figuring out and adapting to what it takes. What is the way that I'm doing this? How is it going to continue to get better? And continuing to do that so that I can get to a point where I'm complacent, right? But it doesn't stop there, because complacency is what will kill everything, right? You get complacent, you stop, you decide that that's enough, right? So then you desire more, right? As you desire more, what does that mean? You get back to desire, right? And then you reevaluate what the desire is. Okay, so now I'm at 100. I want to go 200. I want to go 300. I want to go 400. I want to get on another platform. I want to build this. I want to build that. And the fact is, it's called a hedonic treadmill because when I think about this, I think about like a hamster running in a wheel, right? He runs and runs and runs trying to find the end, but he doesn't stop until he's tired. And then when he's tired, he gets out, he gets back in, and he runs and runs and runs when he's rested. Then he gets tired, and then he rests again. So the fact of the matter is, though, between desire, strive, obtain, enjoy, adapt, desire more, it continues to go, it continues to grow. And I think the biggest thing that most people miss is that you think that you have this goal that you want to achieve, and when you achieve that goal, you're done, right? You need to feel the accomplishment is what Nikki is saying over here. You do need to feel that. You need to understand that you have accomplished something. You need to celebrate that accomplishment, but you can't be complacent. You can't just be, this is it, right? There has to be more. And maybe this is with a different goal. Like, I'm started out to do this podcast and this is what I want to do and this is how it's going to go and this is what we're going to do. But now maybe I want to get into social media marketing. Same thing. What's the goal? Strive for the goal, obtain, enjoy, adapt, desire more, and then start over. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that people go through. You do have to celebrate the fact that you have won, right? Like you have gotten where you wanted to get, but you also have to realize that that's not the end. Because if it's the end, then what are you going to do? Just sit around on your couch and eat potato chips and hope that things happen for you? I don't know. I mean, that's just not me. For me personally, and we're talking about, these are things that I work through. Like, so if you've listened to the podcast, you understand that I'm a person who is like I start to think about things and I question things and I run them through my head and I reflect on what it means to me and I build stuff off of that. That's how I do it. Again, like I said, we're going to do some Q&A over here. If you have any questions, if you're just watching, it looks like we got 2 in the room. Drop those questions in there. I'll answer them. You can come back and review them if you have to leave or whatever you need to do. But drop the questions if you want. So that is something that I think you should really think about every single day. We're going to move on to the next topic here. A lot of you have not realized why I do this podcast because there's so many different people. And again, I'll tell you a little something. This is on YouTube right now. It's also, the podcast is actually on iTunes, on Spotify, like the audio portion. A podcast, a lot of people are like, oh, I have a podcast. Well, it's not really a podcast if you're doing video. The audio portion is a podcast. Fight me on that. I mean, some people will it's not I do a podcast. Okay, well, podcast is audio. Anyway, this podcast, I designed it. I started out trying to get business for myself. This is how this kind of went. Like, I had the desire to get more business and I strived for that goal. But what happened was I realized that it wasn't the direction that I wanted it to go. And through a little bit of self-discovery, I realized that I wanted to help other people and that people want to buy me. They don't want to buy, it doesn't matter what the product is. I could sell me as a person, as the educator, the person who is helping other people be better. And I relate to people and I think through things and I built on that, the whole situation. So I got lucky enough to be a guest on my friend Matt Todd's podcast, the Ranch Podcast. If you haven't checked that out, go over to wherever you follow me. I posted a story about it. Go find the Ranch Podcast on Instagram. It's also on YouTube. As episode 32 just got released. Check it out. You're going to hear a little bit more story about me, who I am, where I come from, and some of the things in a way that I think. But without this podcast, I would have never met Matt. And Matt is an awesome dude. And it's funny by chance because these things happen in everyday life. You never know who you're going to connect with. you never know what kind of relationship you're going to build based on certain things. One of my very good friends, Jay Finning, we met in a stupid podcasting group that no one was open to. Like, they just wanted to take all the information. And then when they found out that you didn't think the same way they did, and it could be about anything. I don't like chicken noodle soup. You're out. We kicked you out. Like, they just kind of just kicked us one by one out. Well, the funny thing is that when you are around people, the 5 people in your inner circle are your influence, and they react and they act the way that you act. So if you have 5 negative people, you're going to be a negative person. If you have 5 positive people, you're going to be a positive person. Well, a group of 4 of us ended up in a separate chat, in a separate place, and have continued to be friends for a very long time. And I bounce a lot of things off Jay. And Jay and I talk every single day. And we have One Drink Wednesday, and he's been on my podcast a bunch of times. I've been on his. I've been down to visit him in Arizona. He lives in Arizona. I live in Idaho. And those relationships that you build, that you create, that you glean. Well, this is how this Matt Todd relationship came along. I was in his house. I quoted him out window coverings. He didn't buy them from me. I was okay with that because I'm okay with people not buying stuff from me because it's not always for me. Sometimes there's people who want to do stuff on their own because they realize that, well, maybe that's a little bit more than what I thought it would be. That's okay with me. But when I got done, after I gave him my quote, after I left or before I left the house, we sat down at his table and we talked about, hey, I've got a podcast. You got a podcast? Like, we just had this conversation, and he's the type of person who makes me think, and I had him on my podcast. And then he got a studio set up and I went and sat in his podcast, which I'm ready for my own studio. I can tell you that right now. This rental that we're in is great. I'm grateful that we have a place to stay, but it's tough to record in a space that is not dedicated to podcasting. It's tough to record in a place that, my daughter is doing her homework on the computer that I need to use for my podcast. She comes up here, she moves stuff around. And sometimes we have issues with audio because of that, because like the cord gets shook or moved around or something like that. And it's terrible. That's the thing. And that's why, like, it's sad. Like, we have to punt with that. Like, I've had those 2 episodes I was talking about with the audio, and I don't even know if this is coming in clear right now, but I'll find out, because you basically have to scrap the whole episode because no one wants to listen to crappy, scratchy voice. But anyway, whoever you meet, whoever you interact with, you never know what that relationship is. And it's really, really crucial to treat everyone like you would want to be treated. That's a big thing. And so check out that podcast episode. It's awesome. I don't know. I love, like, when I sat down in that room, I felt like at home. I don't get to be on interviews very often. If you want to interview me, I'm definitely open to do it because I love to do it. Because if you guys don't know, this part is the hard part, right? This is the tough part. Me actually doing my part, because I have to, luckily I have someone who edits it for me, but I have to do all the things and all the steps to get it posted everywhere. It needs to be posted and all that stuff. When someone else records an interview, it's all in their hands. And it's super cool to talk a little bit about who I am. And you know who I am. I mean, if you go back and you listen to the dang near 200 episodes of the podcast, you're going to know who I am. And that's what it's about. It's about building a brand, building a person, letting people know who you are, right? Because you want people to trust you. You want them to know who you are. You want them to know who you're coming through. And every single episode that I've had, or any question that I ever ask, is a personal reflection of who I am. Because I think about those things. Because I'm always striving, just like in the Hedonic Treadmill that we talked about, to obtain a joy, adapt, desire more, and then keep going. So wanting to completely move forward all the time and to better yourself. I talked about, I've talked about before, like reading books. In college, I have 2 degrees. For those of you who don't know me, I have a bachelor's in physical education, kinesiology, and then I have a master's degree in education technology. I went to college the first time, right when I graduated high school, and I flunked out of college, 1.7 GPA. I waited 11 years and went back to college to get my bachelor's, and I got a 3.7 with my bachelor's and a 4.9 or 3.9 with my master's. And I'm going to tell you this, and I don't think they can take my degrees away. I already got them. I cracked a book and maybe read 1 chapter out of all the books that I had. So the thing that really helped me get through college was the life experiences that I had helped me relate to what I'm doing. And I didn't think that reading was necessary, but as I was teaching, I was telling kids, you need to go to college because my parents told me I needed to go to college to be successful. And that's not true. And I don't believe it. And I think about that every single day when I see some of my students on Facebook or on Instagram talking and things like that, how I told them, you got to go to college to be successful. Not true. And it's tough because that's what the education system wants you to know. They're going to take a big reboot. It's coming back. I can tell you right now. You'll see. It's going to be different. But I have read more books in the last 2 years, autobiographies, self-help books, marketing books, life books, things like that, that have meant more to me and educated me more than anything I ever learned inside a building. Of someone preaching at you that you need to know this, 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 and this, when in reality, you only need to know about a third of that to be able to do whatever you want to do. Now, don't get me wrong. Doctors, lawyers, there's certain people who have to go to college. That's all there is to it. They have to. Because if they don't, then they're not going to be able to do the things that you do. You don't want someone who hasn't practiced open heart surgery doing open heart surgery on you. Oh, this is how you do it. You don't want someone else showing them how to do that. But there's a lot of things that you can do that someone else can show you and train you, and you can get hands-on training on and be better and be good. So it's not necessary for everyone, I guess is the way that I should put it. And there are a lot of great people who didn't go to college. But I think that one of the things that we covered in that podcast that I was on was that we were told this is what we had to do. My parents are baby boomers. And their parents were whatever, I don't know what the generation was before that. But the generation before that, not a lot of people did go to college. And then they wanted to send their kids to college. So my dad and my mom needed to go to college because their parents told them that they needed to. So they didn't get a chance to go, but they looked at what they were making as far as money goes and things like that. And they were like, I would have made more money if I would have went to college. I would have been more set if I would have went to college. And then it becomes get a job with benefits, do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. And I hadn't had this type of thought process with myself until I became a fully commissioned salesman. I got both my degrees. I finished my master's degree, and that spring, when I finished it, I looked at the principal at my school and I said, I'm done. Not doing this anymore. I am resigning. I'm resigning from teaching. I'm resigning from coaching, and I'm going to go do something different. And it ended up being this job that I have that makes me 100% sales, 100% commission person. So like, it's all on me. I'm not going to work every single day and getting a paycheck based on this is how much you're worth. I'm proving my own worth to myself. And it was tough at first. Like, it was scary at first to be a commission salesman because you don't know where your income's coming. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know where that next sale's coming from. You don't know how much you're going to make. You can walk into a house and it's do or die. You get a yes or you get a no, and then you don't make any money or you do make money. And it makes you put a lot of trust in yourself and a lot of effort into yourself and a lot of making yourself better. And then you start to trust in yourself and you start to know, hey, I'm pretty damn good at this. And I don't have to rely on anyone else to go in that house and sell that stuff for me. It's up to me. And again, that's building a rapport with someone. It's gaining trust from someone, hoping that they understand that you are what you are or who you are. And it's funny because there's 3 salesmen in my company and I'm a pretty good one. And sometimes people will ask me, how do you sell as much as you sell? And I think that it comes from the education standpoint. So although my degrees are not in use, they were necessary and they've helped me. And they've helped me become a better salesman. They've helped me become a better person. They've helped me become better everything because I used those skills that I learned in writing, in communication, in teaching, in educating people. And so, I'm grateful that I did that. Is it necessary? No. Could I have done it on my own? Probably. But I did get something out of that. So it is important to have that education if you need it. And that's it. So those are kind of the big things that I wanted to cover today. I was going to tell you guys a little bit about my sinus issues, which I'm starting to finally feel better. If you haven't followed me on TikTok, I post quite a bit on TikTok. We're trying to grow the YouTube channel. That's why we're doing these lives a little bit more. That's why I'm trying to push out more content on YouTube. I've actually got to upload 3 or 4 more videos after I get done recording this one. This one will go up, but then I got to take this one, send it over, get it edited for audio. But it's one of those things that you have to continue. And if you think that there's anything that I can do better, if there's any guests that you want me to talk to, DM me. But go check out on the other social media platforms. As far as getting sick, though, I've had this sinus infection over a month now. And I finally went into the doctor, my doctor. So 2 weeks ago, it had been 2 weeks that I'd felt pretty crappy. I went and I did a telehealth. The lady gave me some medication or some antibiotics that I took for 2 weeks and didn't do anything. Luckily, I had a physical scheduled on Monday with my regular doctor. I walked in there and I talked to him about it. He said, obviously, this is not working. We've been there down this path. He's been my doctor for 22 years. So we've been down this path before, and you need to get back to the ENT. You need to talk to him. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you this and this. So different antibiotic, some steroid, prednisone to help clean it out, to get it going away. And I finally have started to feel better. So you're going to see some more posting from me. I just didn't feel really good about posting. I'm on my exercise journey. Like I've been on my bike for at least 30 minutes or exercised for at least 30 minutes every single day for 96 days. And it's been crazy because I worked through the being sick part. I just continued to go. And, I know that like people are like, you need to rest. You do need to rest. And I get it. And I understand that. But I also told myself I was going to do this, and I'm not letting go. That's the goal. The goal is to continue exercising, and the conversation that I had, because I've always struggled with my weight. I was talking to the doctor about it. Every time I go in there, he's like, oh, you're overweight, blah, 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 blah. Right. I mean, I've struggled with my weight forever. I had gastric sleeve surgery probably about 7 years ago. I am 24 pounds heavier than I was in high school. At one point, I was a lot heavier than that. And so I had to put that in perspective. I had to think about that too, because I walk in there and he's like, oh, you're overweight. And like, yeah, I'm overweight. You're right. But to think about that in high school, the height and weight for my BMI is 190 pounds. 190 pounds. If you guys know me personally, if you've seen me, you know that I'm a big dude. 6'3". At one point, I was 350 pounds. At one point I was. That's crazy. And I'm not saying that I don't need to lower my weight from what it is now, but I'm 284 pounds right now. 283 if you look at this morning, because it kind of fluctuates. But I did make those strides, and that's the thing. Like I had to keep telling myself, because talking to some of my friends, I'm like, oh, he tells me I'm fat all the time. I hate this, blah, blah, blah. You get in that wheelhouse, and then you're like, all right, but wait, here's the deal. I don't weigh 350 pounds anymore. I weigh 284, 24 pounds over what it was. Do I need to get back down to that 260 at least? Yes, that's where I need to be. And it's going to take some more work. The fact of the matter is, though, is exercise is only part of the situation. You have to change your diet as well. And that's one of the things that I always struggle with is my diet. Now, I eat way less than I did when I was 350 pounds, but I'm still eating some of the wrong things, and I need to fix that. So thinking about those things, thinking about what you can do to be better every single day. And to me, it was like, I started out on that bike and I was like, I'm going to do 30 minutes at least. And so I'm almost to 100 days. I'll be 100 days on December 4th. And those 100 days were, it's a goal that I'm going to get to, and I wasn't going to stop. I'm going to get to 100. I'm going to get to 365. Friend of the show, Robert Watson, who's been on before, I think he's at like 2,871 days of running. And the other day he was telling me, he goes, I stopped out. I walked outside and it was raining and I just went. And he's actually the reason why I started exercising, because I'd been talking about doing it for a while. And he told me something in the interview that I did with him. I said, why do you do this? Like, why do you run every single day? And he straight faced looked at me. And I don't know if you guys know Robert Watson. The guy he's in the military, and he's an older guy. I think he's probably in his 60s. Square jaw, straight face, looked at me and goes, because I hate it. And I said, what? He goes, I hate it. He goes, every single time I ever did anything, running was punishment. I hate it. And he was able to use something that he hated every single day to do it in the morning before he wakes up. I think it's like 5 o'clock in the morning every time. So I get up at 4:30. I got up early anyway. I had to restructure some of my things because I was just being lazy. I was sitting on my butt playing computer games. And he just gets up and he goes and does it every single day because he hates it. Because if he can get something that he hates out of the way first thing in the morning, he sets the table for the rest of the day. And I've always been the morning person. I didn't really think about why, but that is completely an awesome way to look at it. I don't hate riding my bike, but it's not my favorite thing to do. Not everyone's favorite thing to do is exercise. And if it is for you, good for you. For me, it's not. But I need to do it. It's not going to be the savior of my weight loss journey or being in better shape or living longer, but it is helpful. It helps because, honestly, the biggest way to lose weight is what? Put less in this hole than comes out of the other one, right? That's the truth. So less calories, more output. Less input, more output. And to make that happen, you got to eat less, or you got to eat less calories. You can eat more, but you think about like the things that are low calorie. Because if you think about it, your body burns like mine because of the size that I am. It burns like over, I think it's like 2,600 calories a day. But if I'm eating over 2,600 calories a day, what's going to happen? You're going to gain weight. If you're eating under that, you have a deficit, you're going to lose weight. And that's the hardest part, is to just understand that and realize that that's what it is. And that's why people will start counting calories, they lose weight. If you know that number and you know the other number and you watch what you eat based on that, you're going to lose weight. So that's one of the things that I was thinking about the other day, is like, I have to be able to understand that there are things that I am doing that are helpful. But just like with that hedonic treadmill, this thing is like always in my mind right now. After my friend Jeff told me about it, it's like, more. You get there, do more. You get there, do more. Always be willing to be better. That's pretty much all I got for you guys. I wanted to say thank you. I really do appreciate everyone who is here. I appreciate my team that's helping me. Wolf K, Nikki P, Jay. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys all for what you do. And again, like I said, if this is the first time watching this, please hit the subscribe button. Share this out. You can share it on Twitter. You can share it anywhere. Share the YouTube. Share the podcast. Tell people where you found it. If you guys want some gear, I've got some shirts. I've got some sweatshirts. Go check out some TikTok duets. We've got people who've got our sweatshirts. I ordered about 16 of them, and those people are currently trying to duet. Go follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram. You guys are great. Thank you very much. Until next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.